Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, 104 here in St. Louis. And we're going to get to a guest here in just a second. But before we do that, I'm going to reset the poll question for you. For parents, which is harder, by bringing new children home or watching grown children leave? This really plays into this conversation we're going to have here in just a second, because there's a lot of discussion right now in the news about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think she's like 38 years old, and she's come out here and said that she's made a decision about her future.
All right. And then before you go, you did have a personal announcement that you made. It was interesting to see you kind of open up in, on an Instagram Live, I believe it was. So tell me what it was and why you decided to do it.
I think it's important for us to normalize these conversations, especially in this political environment. The Trump administration has...
Remind us what the announcement was.
Yeah, sure. So I have decided to start the process of freezing my eggs.
Yeah.
And in this political environment where this administration is denying reproductive care to women across the country, from abortion rights to the ability to carry out a healthy pregnancy, I think it's important for us as leaders to have these conversations and share these processes, especially for working women across the country, and normalize them.
So let's talk for a second. We could do all day about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez worrying about the Trump administration allowing people to carry out healthy pregnancies. What? I will pause for effect. Give me a break. Why is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's 36, I guess, 36 years old. She's getting to this point where she's contemplating motherhood. I mean, that's pretty far down the road. Not to say that you couldn't become a mother at 36 natural way through the egg freezing process. But is this something that has been more mainstream? She said that we need to talk about this, and especially in this political climate. What does that even mean? Let's get to our guest. Very excited to have Jillian Anderson King on the Annie Frey Show with us. Ambassador for Moms Across America, TPUSA and TPUSA Faith. She's a former Redskins cheerleader and a contestant on ABC's The Bachelor and guest on the Annie Frey Show. Jillian, thank you for being with us today. It's great to have you here.
Man, thanks for having me. You guys just rolled out a bunch of titles. All right, okay.
Yeah, the woman who has it all right here on the show with us right now. What was your reaction when you heard, of course, that AOC was freezing her eggs, but also was going to talk about it on ABC this week?
I mean, so AOC and I are just a couple months apart. Our birthdays are just a couple months apart. So we're essentially the same age. My first instinct was honestly that it was sad.
I felt the same.
Very, very sad. And at this point, right, when she first brought the video, she was still engaged, to all of our knowledge, right? So we're like, what's going on? It's been 5 years since her engagement. Why did she just get married and have kids? It seemed, she definitely tried to hit Donald Trump, in this political climate. But we know that Trump created Trump accounts. He expanded the adoption tax credit. He strengthened so much support for children aging out of foster care. He put so many employer incentives for childcare. And I mean, to use that as like a political thing. I can't have it. It's political climate. That's just wrong. But in a greater sense, like, to put off motherhood for what seems to be like her ambitions, her professional ambitions, that's what hit me hard.
Yeah.
Personally, I've just kind of been on this mission to work really hard and to do really big things that God has put in my heart, and He has. And I've been someone who's been chasing a good career and just wanting to get things done. And I love that at the sacrifice of starting a family, where I put that as like a second tier in my head. I felt so convinced that we were, as women, to accomplish the world to conquer the world and accomplish as many things as we could, and to be just as strong and just as great as men can be in the work field. And I just bought that, and I just had this fun life of doing reality TV and cheering and going out and doing fun things and working really hard, again, at the expense of a life that was waiting for me to start a family. And I think I definitely bought into this lie that family is something you do later. Family is something that you can do later if you go to school, you get your degree, you get your job, you work hard, you make enough money to support a family, find the right guy. It is much later in life. When I got pregnant with my first child, and I was in my almost my mid 30s, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified, but God, I put it on my heart and I prayed, with him and to him, sorry. And he just told me, like, this isn't about you. You're making this about you. It's selfish. This is my child that I'm giving you to raise. And from that point on, I started looking at things differently. Mm-hmm. And what I wish I knew in my 20s, in my early 20s, is that, hey, I don't have to choose between being a mom and doing things. I can actually do both. Right. And that was that. Even the conservatives, I think, a lot of the times they get this messaging wrong, where we all have to be stay-at-home trad wives. No. We look at the books of the Bible. We see people like Esther. That's not true. I would be disobedient if I was not giving my gifts that God has put in me and sharing them. That I would be disobedient to that. But what I could do is I could go back in time and I could have kids earlier and actually feel stronger and more passionate about the things that I'm doing now. I could have done this longer. I could have been more powerful. I was dreaming too small and not big enough. And that's really how I see it now. And what I feel bad about when I see AOC is that she was lied to, like I was. We're the same age. This whole girl boss, accomplish it all. We're just as good as men. This is what's important. Kids can wait. Well, they can't wait. Yeah. One of my best friends, Erica Kirk, we were trying to have our third kid at the same time. And that unfortunately did not work out for her. And she wanted to have a fourth one, same as me. And we were trying to do things at the same time together, and life was cut short. Her opportunity was cut short. So we know that later isn't always better.
Yeah, amen.
It doesn't always come.
Jillian Anderson King speaking with us right now, an ambassador for Moms Across America, TPUSA Faith. The thing that I appreciate so much about what you're saying is it's kind of like shaking all of the braces that sit around being a girl and being a woman and being a mother. It seems to me like there was this expectation of women, decades ago, women are there to get married, to have babies, and to keep the home. And then the feminists came in and they're like, you don't have to be relegated to just that. If you want to be in a boardroom, you can be in a boardroom. But then, unfortunately, I'm 42 years old right now, so I'm pretty close to you in age, and I've got 4 kids myself. There was this moment where this postmodern feminism stripped everything away from what makes women so empowered, our ability to create life and our ability to mother and our ability to nurture. And they told us to put all of that aside. That is the most adorable little voice, by the way. I love that
he
so much.
Woke up. Sorry.
That's okay. By all means,
both.
Yeah, exactly. It's the perfect addition to this conversation. But these women who have been lied to for the last 10, 20 years in the effort to empower feminism, they've been stripped from what they actually can do to flex as women. And then you get to the point where you're 38, and I thought that her delivery of that freezing my eggs announcement, I did not believe her face and her smile. It did feel sad. Who knows what's going to happen next for her? But she's made a choice that's limited her options so incredibly much.
Yeah, I think to your point, yes, the feminists who fought for us to get back in the workplace is just crazy. They've gone so far left they can't define women. We all know that's crazy. But at the same time, I think conservatives miss the mark on this too. We are pushing this idea that I get hit on personally, that I know people like Erica Kirk get hit on, but she even has a choice because she's a single mother now. But hey, you have kids, be at home. Be at home. Hey, I talk to her a lot. We're both at home a lot. Right. So you're trying to juggle it all. But there's not really a one-size-fits-all box. And our calling on our lives is different person to person. And how we manage it and how we manage our home life, that's between us and God. And that's between us and our husbands and our family. And I think there is a balance there. There can be a balance there if you so choose it. And now, if you want to stay home, and make sourdough and be a stay-at-home. I love it, and I think it's amazing. And I wish, part of me wishes, hey, I wish I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere and I had a life to myself. But that's not the calling that God gave me, right? I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing when people can rise up and run organizations like Erica. That's not my calling. We all have our own thing, and to be able to balance motherhood with that is just a beautiful thing. And so I think we've pushed people in you have to be a girl boss or you have to be a stay-at-home sourdough baking mom. There's a lot of room in between, right?
That's not the only option.
We're not talking about that. Exactly. It's not the only option. But my thing is, I felt lied to. I felt completely lied to. And I could cry thinking about it because the world told me I needed to do all these things before I had a kid. And the world told me that pregnancy was awful, that kids were annoying, that I would lose having fun, that I would lose, like, hey, let's go travel. Let's go have this big career. Let's keep building. Let's keep making more money. I won't be able to make it if I don't have enough money. I won't be able to do any of these things ever again. My life is more full and still busy than it has ever been.
Yeah.
But I love it. I'm so blessed by that. And I feel robbed of not only the years I could have had with my kids, but for the person it could have made me 10 years earlier.
Oh, Jillian, the other part of this, too, that I think is so important for women to hear is we're always told, like, you can do it all, like, you can do it, girl power and all this stuff. But the truth of the matter is you do kind of need a village. And if you're blessed if you're blessed to have parents around to help with those kiddos, that's great. If you have a church community, they can be your village. But you do have to rely on other people to help you do this. It will enrich yourself. It will enrich your children. It will enrich your family. It will enrich your faith life and your faith walk. We've got a lot of government programs being offered to us that can get rid of the father in the family and rid them of their responsibilities of creation of life.
Yep.
Make it easy for people to stay home and not contribute to society. The government's always trying to give you that opportunity to say, you don't have to work, you don't have to input, just take the output. And that breaks down a structure where that village is there to help raise that family.
Absolutely. So a title that you didn't have on there is something I'm really proud of, and I probably pour into this ministry day to day more than I do anything else, is as I'm a board member, a proud board member of the Jack Brewer Foundation. My best friend, Jack Brewer, a fight for his life. If you don't ever see him throughout the media or
he's been on our show.
NFL days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. God had put on his heart to fight for the fathers. And to your point, like the Great Society and what it did to break down the family, we see that in real time. We are actively working to change policies. We helped write and pass the fatherhood bill here in the state of Florida. We've helped work on legislation throughout other states, and then we helped pass a couple resolutions alongside with our future governor, Byron Donalds of Florida, and Burgess Owens, a congressman from Utah. We do a lot of work in father, try to change legislatively, but also we're hands-on in our communities. We're providing for these families on a weekly basis. My children and I, my husband, we serve these families. We give them groceries. We tutor. I just took a bunch of at-risk fatherless youth school shopping. We make sure they get their schools done. We put them in our after-school programs. We get them to sports. They call me if they need cleats, they need helmets. They call me. They call our foundation. We make sure that they have what they need to succeed, because a lot of these kids, I mean, you can see stats. You're 16 times more likely to be a high school dropout if you don't have a father. Yeah. Being incarcerated. We work in prisons all over. We work with all over the state of Florida, and then some throughout the country. Our programs are in there, and we're seeing many times over 90% of the people incarcerated did not have dads. And then when you ask again, hey, raise your hand if you have a kid, and many that you see hands go up, you just cry because they're not seeing their kids, they're not pouring into them. And you see this vicious cycle, but we're pushing kids. These Great Society had pushed fathers out of the home, and we've now seen generations of how it's affected them. The government has taken over what was meant for the family.
Amen. Yeah, we've got
we're trying really hard to push that back together and step up and have men. Hey, everyone listening, if you're a man, step up and be a coach. Step up and be a mentor. Be something in a little boy's life that he needs. Help him steer him on so he can build a family. Be a tax-paying citizen. Be a contributor, and be a man that God had put in his heart to be.
Oh, it's so enriching because it's all community first. It's a we the people first, and if a government program needs to exist to lift up those who the community can't lift up, then maybe there's a discussion for it. But there is a movement out there for the government to come in and replace all of these necessary things to have a healthy society where women can do what women do, men can do what men do, and they come together to create something beautiful in a family, and those families enrich the community. And that example is something that we need to have much more of. It's so great to hear your anecdotes, and of course Jack Brewer does such a wonderful job with his advocacy as well.
It's something that Charlie Kirk always echoed. He echoed it a lot, and it's so true because I live it every day. Is that the church? There's nothing the government can do that the church can't do better. Amen. And we're already doing it. Whether it comes feeding them, taking care of families. Like here in the state of Florida, my friend Mike Watkins, who runs NWF Health, he helped privatize adoption and foster care here in the state of Florida, knowing that communities and churches, they were going to be the ones to love on these kids, not the government. And he saw that. And in every part of life, there's nothing that a church can't or shouldn't be doing, really, that they can be doing better than the government. And so I think people need to remember, like, what ecclesia actually means, that we are the church. We are the hands and feet of Jesus, and to live that out. And part of my calling was to say, hey, females out there, do you have a better role? You have a better role than just being a worker bee. Then we can live out Jesus, and I have my kids are just a testament to his goodness, right? But also they are my ministry. But so is my work.
Yeah, you can do both.
And you can do it both if he calls you to do it.
Yes, you can. And you are. And we're so grateful today, Jillian, for you to share that message with us here and to talk about this. I encourage people to go to foxnews.com and read your opinion piece that was there. That's what got my attention. I was grateful to read it, felt a kindred spirit with you, and grateful that you were able to give us some of your time and some of your kiddos' time today, too. Give him a hug from us.
Yeah, thanks. The long guys woke him up out of his nap, so I apologize.
I understand. Jillian, thank you for being with us here today. It was good to speak with you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I know how that goes.